This video is actually part of a series of lectures that are in a class entitled The MBTI Learning Styles, the 16 Personalities. You can access this course at udemy.com, teachable.com, or thinkific.com. You can also find more information at studentsuccessbase.com, which is our website, and the information is in printed format on Amazon in both a paperback and Kindle versions. When I look at an ISFJ, I really have a great appreciation for this type of learner because I have 6 children and one of my children is an ISFJ, and we created a personalized learning plan for him. But as you look at this, I want you to remember that this is someone who approaches life in a very warm, people-oriented manner. They really like to focus on hands-on and to look at how they can help others. So this is our general description of an ISFJ, their personality: quiet, friendly, responsible, conscientious, committed, steady, painstaking, accurate, thorough, loyal, considerate. Did you notice all those words? Aren't these wonderful? You kind of think of founding fathers almost when you look at it. But they strive to create an orderly and harmonious environment at both work and at home. Our key word here is practical and reflective. Practical and reflective. Wonderful, right? They also like, will this help me in my work? That is what's most important to them. Will this help me in my work? Now here's the interesting thing about the ISFJ. 13.8% of the total population is an ISFJ. Why is this interesting? Because it's the most frequent personality type. Now these people are so dependable and they're so committed and considered. They're committed to people no matter what. They are going to be faithful and committed, do or die. So let's look at their learning style. They are very methodical and systematic. They are energized when they get to apply what they learn, and especially when examples are used. They have an innate, almost this sixth sense, or this ability that nobody can see to scaffold new information into old information with almost no effort. I mean, it's impressive to watch. But they still need to be able to understand the relevance of new knowledge, and especially they need a systematic approach for learning. So they like order in their learning. They're very, very curious, and they enjoy studying additional information. This is the learner that you're probably going to find that delves into like 10 different books on the same topic because they really need to know everything, because they thrive on that depth. They need to know everything about that particular topic. They possess an innate ability to really retain facts. They're good at learning because they can focus and concentrate for extremely long periods of times. Now remember also, these are factual, practical information over theory. They like the practical, not the theoretical. Let's look at their classroom environments. So as an educator, you're going to see these people as really being quiet, serious, and conscientious. These are like your great student in the class. You know, the one student that's quiet, that pays attention to everyone. You're like, oh, that's my dream student. But because of that, they often get forgotten because they're so good you don't realize how smart they are, or when they may be missing a point. Now, they prefer to learn in an environment or a classroom that's going to really give them time to think. They need structure, organization, and discipline. These are always really, really important components, almost essential for the best type of environment for them. They like detailed instructions with objectives and rubrics. Without these, they really struggle to succeed in their learning. They like visuals and examples more than they like verbal and talking and discussion, but they can learn from both situations. And they benefit most with a logical purpose, so that, again, those objectives, they want you to say right out front what the purpose is in learning. Traditional classrooms really work well for the ISFJ, but they do prefer to learn all by themselves. They are going to honor their commitments no matter what, because they really are very kind, considerate, and they're very thoughtful of other people. So when we look at the different comparisons between what makes them most comfortable to least comfortable, they like to know their expectations, objectives, rubrics. They're traditional. They like observing, listening, reading. They like to think before they act, Remember, that's really important, so don't volunteer them. So if you're sitting in a classroom, you're asking questions, do not call on the ISFJ. It'll make them very nervous because they didn't have the opportunity to think of an answer before they were given. They need a clear purpose for everything they do. Remember how much they really love that in-depth learning? They love, love, love that. Now, if you go to the other side where it's least comfortable being forced to be the center of attention, lacking objectives, unstructured, working on projects without planning, detail work, yada, yada. If we go through all of these things and you don't give them what they need in order to learn, they're really going to withdraw. They're going to become very rigid. They're going to feel unappreciated. They'll be resentful. And what they're going to do is they're going to complain a lot, not just a little bit, but a lot. So if you're seeing some of those kind of situations going on in your classroom, you want to step back and say, maybe I'm not meeting the needs of this kind of a learner. Since this is the most frequent personality that we have in our population, this is something that you really need to pay attention to as an instructor. These are the classroom ideas. So let's look at some of these tips. As an educator, you want to make sure they have those structure. They want a lot of guidelines with objectives and rubrics because they really need to know what is expected of them. But vary the activities for them. They don't mind small groups, with 3 or 4 people, but not large groups. They don't mind classwork, but they do need independent time. Make sure that you have a lot of examples and metaphors and visuals, and even some analogies would help them to really understand what's going on. They need explanations as to why it's important to learn this information and where the information can be used. Now, they do like feedback. They like a lot of it, and they really don't mind if you give them some critical feedback, but only if you have a positive relationship with them. So if they have a good relationship with an instructor, then they don't mind getting feedback. Now here's the caveat though. They need it given personally. Don't give it in front of others. They really need it given on the sidelines away from other people. Now once this relationship is built between the teacher and the student, it's going to be very easily to maintain it with them. Make sure that you give them a lot of other resources so that they can really dive into stuff. Remember, they like that in-depth part of life. They like a preview of information. So before you end your lesson, say, tomorrow we will be focusing on, and enter, right? So give them that information so that they can really organize their thoughts and begin that scaffolding process for the next time. Also, again, make sure that you use examples and modeling. As a learner, this means you're very curious, even a natural learner. And so you're kind of fun. And not only are you fun, but you're fun in learning situations because you already know what to do. And so there aren't a lot of things that you could do to really improve. But here you go. What I really think helps the most, or the greatest potential area for growth for you, is to really look at the wider ramifications of what's going on, okay? Make sure that you don't just sit back and expect information to come to you with no effort, because since you assimilate and take in information so easily, sometimes it's easy to forget that you really need to put some effort into learning. So prepare ahead. That's one thing you can do, is take some time before class to dive in and look at questions that you can ask before you get to class, before you read, or before you even start an outline of the information. Set some learning goals. Try a resource list so you can get into in-depth study. If you can't find some good sources, be sure to ask your instructors, all right? Also, search for ways that you can apply this knowledge, and especially something that would be beneficial to others. Ask for your guidelines, your objectives, and your rubrics so that you know what's expected of you. It's difficult sometimes, and usually your instructors are going to be willing to give that information. But also, more than anything, arrange a time when you can go meet with your teacher face-to-face and provide that opportunity to really develop that relationship. Most of all, though, my favorite part is using that reflection time with a learning journal so you can discover who you are as a learner.